I think it's getting to a point where it's becoming extremely obvious that a lot of people who like to talk about games actually don't like playing them at all. The latest victim of this is James Bond, 007 First Light, made by IO Interactive, the studio behind Hitman. They're a developer that has spent the last decade proving it understands espionage, stealth, gadgets, infiltration, and player freedom better than almost anyone else in the industry. And yet somehow, the conversation has already shifted away from whether they've done a good job at that, and it's become another culture war. Yes, a second culture war has hit James Bond. The game has become an engagement farm, another game being forced to defend itself against narratives that were decided long before anyone actually picked up the game to start playing it. And honestly, it's becoming one of the most exhausting things about modern gaming. You can't just sit down and play a game and have a conversation about whether the game is good or not. You have to talk about whether it's woke or DEI slop. And I think people are getting fucking sick of it, dude. You have to kind of just get to a point where you tune out the noise and you can just focus on what's actually in front of you, which is probably one of the best games of 2026, almost a sequel to Uncharted, kind of a quasi Hitman game, but not really. But my God, did they put out something incredible here. And then you have people saying that the game is a failure because it only sold 1.5 million copies on the first day, but that's not good enough because the game had a $200 million budget. So if you're only selling 1.5 million copies in the first day, the game will never be a success. And clearly you failed to accommodate the crowd who claims the game is woke because M is a woman. And how could James Bond take orders from a woman when he's James Bond? Besides the fact that M has been a woman since 1995, which is before most of these fucking people complaining about the game were even fucking born, dude. Moneypenny's black in this game. Newsflash, Moneypenny's black in the movies. Did you watch the movies? Do you like James Bond? Does it really matter? To be honest, when it really comes down to it. Because one of the other things that's apparently bringing a lot of people a lot of pain is that James Bond isn't cool enough. James Bond is supposed to go around and have sex with everybody who he wants to, and this game stops you from doing that because that's crazy. You can't be doing that. We gotta be more woke. Except, if you played the game, literally beyond the intro, I'm talking like the tutorial intro kind of level where you're doing your training, Bond has sex with the secretary. And then like throughout the rest of the game, every time you walk by any girl, like in one of the offices or at the resort mission or whatever, all the girls are like, holy shit, that's the hottest guy I've ever seen. What do I got to do to take his pants off? It happens constantly. And even the guys, every guy you fucking meet in the game is like, listen, handsome, back up, pretty boy. Everybody's complimenting him. Everywhere he goes, everybody's complimenting him. And he has sex with another lady later. Like, it's classic James Bond. It's literally classic James Bond. But for some reason, there's a group of people who just cannot put it past them that like the game is woke because it features a woman, or that it's woke because there's a black person in the game, or that it's woke because James Bond should be a little bit older. M is Indian in this, and they're like, there's no way. Brother, it takes place in London. Well, not all of it, but some of it. And you know how many Indians there are in London? A lot of them, dude. So the chances of M being Indian are actually pretty high because I'm pretty sure, I mean, I'm not from London or from England, but I'm pretty sure like the mayor or something of London was Indian or is now. Let me quickly check that. Yeah, Sadiq Khan, the mayor of London, dude. Where is he born? Pakistan. Okay, the Pakistan and Indians probably won't like that I call them, whatever. My mistake, I'm not from there. I don't know who he is. I'm just saying it's very highly possible that M could be from that region of the world. Okay, let's be honest, dude. But besides all that bullshit, dude, besides the bullshit of calling it woke slop, besides the bullshit of saying it's a dead game because it can't have a high number of concurrent players, even though for a single player game, your concurrent players honestly don't matter in any way at all, other than kind of being a judge of like maybe how many copies are sold, but even not really even close at all. Because if you looked at the concurrence and you saw that there was only 67,000 concurrents, but we know for a fact that the game sold 1.5 million copies in a single day, then obviously you can't relate those numbers. You can't relate them at all. People will play the game on their own time, and maybe they're playing on PlayStation, maybe they're playing on Xbox. Maybe not everybody is playing the game on Steam. You ever thought of that? But like I'm saying, besides all of that stuff, what you have here is, without a doubt, one of the best games of 2026. Guaranteed. And if you don't feel that way, then yeah, maybe the game is not for you, but if you're actively pushing against it and you played the game, that's the big point. If you actually played the game and you still are like, this game sucks, then fine, maybe the game is not for you. But if you haven't played the game and you're just claiming that it sucks and then claiming that it's woke and that claiming that it's slop, not only are you a fucking idiot, but you're missing out on literally one of the best games of the year. It is a half Hitman, full Uncharted style game where you are James Bond going through this amazing adventure. You get to use all sorts of cool gadgets. You get to do excellent hand-to-hand combat. The shooting feels so good when you just snap a headshot on somebody. It feels awesome. The stealth is great. Yeah, it's not super advanced. It's not as advanced as Hitman. They don't fully port like the Hitman stealth and the Hitman sneaking and the Hitman ability to drag bodies and change disguises whenever you want to. That's not like that in this. But the reason for that is because this isn't a Hitman game. This is a James Bond game. And James Bond doesn't really do that in the movies. He only does it sometimes, which is why in the game, you only do it sometimes. And it works because the game is such a good translation of James Bond into a video game for the first time in literal decades that we've got a James Bond game this good. And I cannot wait to see them push this to the next level with a sequel that does even better and drives the story forward and gives us the same type of systems, but more refined and just done to the extreme. Because they've set this up to be a trilogy for sure, and it's going to be such a good trilogy. And yeah, it'll take a long time to come out. This game was apparently in development for 7 years. I don't believe that's true. I think it's a lot more likely that this game was in development for around 5 years. I'm pretty sure the game actually entered full development after 2021, which was when they fully wrapped up Hitman. So it's been about 5 years that the game was in development, which is perfectly enough time to make a game of this quality, which is excellent because the game is excellent, okay? Starts off excellent with probably one of the intro mission, the actual intro like prologue mission, isn't that super good. It's kind of like Ground Zeroes, to be honest, where it gives you an introduction to like the mechanics and how the world is going to work and how the gameplay is going to turn out. But it's not like the best intro I've ever experienced. But just past that, when you start to do your training, which is basically a tutorial, they do it so well where it's almost like you're watching a movie. The way that it cuts between Bond shooting, Bond doing push-ups, Bond running, Bond doing, it's just like, this is such a good example of what games are capable of now that we don't see done too often, where it's really setting it up to be like, look how fast everything can load. Boom, boom, boom. You got this in, you got this in, you shoot a gun, boom, it instantly transitions into the next scene where you're just going. They've done something excellent here. IO Interactive has proven that they know how to make a game that is delivering a story that you actively want to see through to the end, that sets up characters that you are honestly attached to in a very short amount of time, and a gameplay loop that just feels so good and tight. No, this is not the sequel to Hitman. If you are expecting Hitman, you're not going to get it here. But if you're looking for an experience that's much more in line with Uncharted Light, boy, do I have a game for you, and it's called 007 First Light. And if you listened to the people online claiming that this is garbage because the cloth doesn't interact the same with his body the same way that it does in Hitman from a few years ago, or that the cutting the meat in the kitchen doesn't interact the same way as the cutting the meat animation in Red Dead Redemption 2. Because what the difference is that in those games, it's more of a simulation. Things need to be simulated in a more specific way because you're basically in a sandbox. 007 First Light, it's not a sandbox. There's a misconception with what you're getting with this game. It is not a sandbox. It is not some like deep systems integrated into this one open area where you get to choose your path, do whatever you want. It's not like that at all. You do get to choose your path, but it's kind of restricted to like 2 or 3 paths, and you're kind of able to do a few things to figure out how to get to the next point, but it's pretty linear. It's a pretty fucking linear game. You just get a few different variations of what you get to do to get from point A to point B, but it's basically just guiding you through to the next point. So you don't need these crazy simulations of cloth fluttering when you're only going to interact with it for a split second. The knife cutting through the meat, you're walking past it. You don't even look at it. It's just happening in the background as you move through a kitchen. So why does it need to be perfect? It doesn't. And the people who are pinpointing that are fucking dumb. It's things like that that is the reason why games need to cost $700 billion to make, because some idiot online is gonna start a hate campaign being like, it doesn't have the same cloth from 10 years ago. It's the worst fucking game I've ever played. You are a fucking moron, dude. You are what's wrong with games. You are the problem. If you just play the game, you'll have an absolutely exciting and exceptional time. And if you want to sit there and complain, then yeah, you'll hate everything about it. But you're dumb for doing that. Because guess what, dude? You can just enjoy games. You can just have a good time. Not everything is DEI woke slop. And this game definitely isn't. And if you think that it is, it means you haven't played it. If you're looking for a great game to play in 2026, I highly recommend James Bond. If you're looking to cry about shit for no fucking reason because you're a little pussy ass bitch, do something else. Maybe let's stop all being fucking stupid and let's just play games and enjoy them. How about that?